American billionaire investor and hedge fund manager Bill Ackman has turned a leaf and is endorsing crypto. In a Twitter thread, Ackman said he's a fan of Helium. The decentralized Wi-Fi mesh network has been accused of some fraudulent endorsements from tech giants like Salesforce, and also reportedly exaggerated its relationship with Dish Network. We spoke about that on the show months ago. HNT, the native token, is down nearly 95% over the past year, according to CoinGecko data. And it seems to me like an odd time for a TradFi figurehead to come out in support of a project with such a checkered past. It just feels like not the right moment. But Will, I'm going to pass it to you. What did you make of this thread?
Crypto is the great reaper. We have these awesome legendary investors come into the fold and then just get like whacked. I don't even know what happens to them. It's just, they can't handle it. Last night we saw Mark Cuban just like unfollow so many different people in crypto last night. And why? All his coins are down, right? Like he bought the top. And that happens with a lot of these investors. They come into crypto, they think what's going on, they think they can apply like their old models to it. Crypto doesn't work that way. Crypto is pretty wild, and you have to hold on for dear life. I know that's not actually what HODL means, but you do have to hold on for dear life in many situations because no one's used to it, right? Bitcoin hit $69,000 a year ago, and now we touched $15,000 last night, right? And we have like a lot of these lending firms blowing up. We have all these projects and tokens everyone thought was going to legitimize the space explode. And that is part of what makes crypto awesome. It's also what makes crypto unappealing for so many people out there. And it's lastly what makes crypto very hard for investors in traditional space to value crypto now. They seemingly always make the wrong bet. And with this instance, Helium Network does have some troubling aspects about it. They've exaggerated some claims. They've made false claims. There seems to be some things that just flat out did not exist. And there seems to also be some issues with that, like the token itself. Token, like it's a cool model, but if there's not a buyer for the token, then it's sort of just bleeding value all the time. And there's a lot of investors who bought Helium token or bought the node network last year, and now they're racing to zero along with everybody else. So it's odd to see him throw this tweet thread up last night, and he got burned on crypto Twitter for doing so. Zach, throw it up to you.
All right, so full disclosure, I've done a little bit of events programming for Helium, so bear with me. I have no HNT bags, no financial stake in this thing, but I will say that you guys might be sort of seeing the forest for the trees, missing the forest for the trees. I always mess that one up, but that's what I'm accusing you guys here because the point stands. Step away from HNT as an example. His point is that tokens have a powerful ability to incentivize cooperation across disparate actors. And HNT, I think, has been a poster child of some of the more traditional finance-leaning people in the space. I remember this New York Times glowing profile about Helium being the one true use case that proves crypto utility some months ago, right? So we've seen that in the mainstream press as sort of a talking point. But I think basically what he's trying to say is like tokens work magic, right? They get people to do things. They get people to bootstrap networks. They get people to bootstrap liquidity in a way that doesn't exist with existing internet technologies. And that's why he's saying it could be as revolutionary as the internet or the telephone after all this craziness shakes out, right? I think a little bit of this is rich guy talking his own book because as he mentions later on, he's invested in a project that leverages Helium, right? So rich guy talking book to me is the story here rather than beefing with the particulars of Helium and the project itself. But hey, that's just what I'm saying. I think the broader point, we often discuss it, tokens have a way of incentivizing collective activity. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I was going to get there, Zach. I just want to say I was going to get there. I think some of what he said in his Twitter thread is true. And there was a tweet that Control threw up on the screen earlier. And his outlook on crypto, I think, is right and aligned with what we say on the show so often. It just feels weird in the current climate for him to be backing or vocally backing in public on Twitter where everything is unraveling Helium. And then he promoted two other projects, the Origin Foundation. He said he has a stake in the Origin Foundation, which it's not really clear what they do. And then a position in Goldfinch Finance. I don't know. It just felt like a weird time, but I'll stop rambling. And Wendy, I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, that's okay. I just don't understand why all these really successful people in traditional finance are not really able to take a step back and look and see that crypto still does operate in a 4-year cycle. It's something that's happened for quite some time. I don't understand, like, I am not the smartest person in the room ever, and never do I want to be, but I don't understand how I get this and I'm able to make a little bit better investment decisions in some of these fancy suits. It just is absolutely mind-blowing, but kudos to them.
Kudos indeed.
Fancy
Last point, I want to
suits,
throw some
man.
shade back up to Zach. I think the token model is fine, right? Like the token model works, but his choice here is like, why did you pick HNT versus any other
Thank
token
you,
in the
Will.
ecosystem that like makes a little bit more sense? Like HNT has like it does have a track record of exaggerating claims at the very least, as detailed in this article. And so for him to put this out, just seems like he didn't do any due diligence. And we've seen what that causes with like FTX and all these other firms blowing up.